This is a trash can. It is a 3.1 gallon little pedal trash can. It is for the bathroom of my house. I've got one in the bathroom, but it is, I don't know, like a 1 gallon or half gallon or a quarter gallon. It's very small, too small. And here's the thing. The trash can I have is oil rubbed bronze finish because that's what all the fixtures in that bathroom are. That's what I chose. That has been its own source of frustration because you can't find an oil rubbed bronze trash can that is this size, and if you do, it's crazy expensive. Like I found one for I think $45, but it also had like chrome trim, which I'm not in love with. It's oil rubbed bronze, which is very dark in color. So you have oil rubbed bronze, dark plastic, and then chrome too. Like, and it was not like just one little chrome piece. It was like multiple chrome strips. I didn't like. I just can't find an oil rubbed bronze trash can I like that is larger. Like, you should not have a 1 gallon trash can in a bathroom or 1.5. I don't know, maybe it's 1.5. Whatever, doesn't matter. You need at least a 3. So I found this one for a better price. It is $20, but it's white, as you can see. It's not oil rubbed bronze. What I'm gonna do? Well, I'm gonna show you how to paint it and show you the right way to paint it so that the paint lasts, as long as we can. Now, you may be thinking, well, if you bought this trash can for 20 bucks and you spend $10 on paint, because I did, that's $30. We're almost to the $45. And if you factor in your time of, cleaning this thing, prepping it, taking it apart, painting it, putting it back together, gosh, you're really maybe kind of like breaking even. And maybe that's true, but the oil rubbed bronze trash cans, there aren't a lot of options. And I like the way this one looks. I like it a little bit better. And you know what? Yes, really, whether my time costs depends on what kind of argument I'm trying to make. Like in this case, with the trash can, I'm like, oh, my time, whatever. It's not that much time. It doesn't really have a cost. Now, if I was trying to sell this trash can to somebody, like, oh, my time is super valuable. It costs a lot. But we're going to walk through this. We're going to get this thing painted. I've got oil rubbed bronze. Use Rustoleum, not because they sponsor the channel. I would love if they did. But I always use Rustoleum. I have had a lot of good luck with their products. And that's what I use is Rustoleum. And this is the oil rubbed bronze finish. Had a hard time finding the store because that looks black. It really does. I think oil rubbed bronze is a little more like brown, a little more red. But, if Rustoleum tells me this is oil rubbed bronze color, then obviously they must be right because they're an industry leader. And I've yet to start my paint industry yet. Maybe in my twilight years I will. So what we're going to do with this trash can, first things first really, is to take all these little stickers off. We're going to disassemble it. I am going to clean it with some oil and grease remover because you want it clean. Like even though it was in your hands, putting it on there, you are potentially affecting the finish of your paint. So once I disassemble it, I'm going to put on gloves. I'm going to clean every piece really well. You want everything as disassembled as you can. So I don't like to have to take things off. So if I can isolate just the metal pieces, just these white pieces I want to paint, I don't have to tape anything off. That is wonderful. That's what you want to do. And then once you paint it, I'm going to wait a day. And let's see. We're going to clean it really well. Then we're going to sand it. Because just like when it's a rainy day and your shoes are on like wet tile and it's a little slippery, it's because you don't have traction. And so if you don't sand this with say 400 grit, well, you're not going to get traction. You want that paint to adhere to this white surface, so you need to sand it with 400 grit so it has some traction. Otherwise, it's slippery shoes on a wet tile surface. There's no traction there. Once we do that, we're going to clean it again because you want it clean. Just wipe it down, and then we're going to paint it. Now, you could just probably spray it as it is, not tape anything off. It's not going to look very good, not going to look professional. I don't like taping off. Like, taping off takes up a lot of time, so I can take it apart. It's going to be quick to disassemble it instead of taping it. And then once we do that, we're going to paint it. We're going to put it back, and then this thing's done. And I've got an oil rubbed bronze trash can that should look really well. And I'll give you a few tips and tricks on spray painting to make this the best job it possibly can be. So you're trying to get these stickers off. A little bit of heat will help that adhesive to let go. I'm just using just an old gift card just to get that corner started a little bit easier. And you always, if you notice, I was pulling from a 45-degree angle against the surface. That's just going to help that thing peel off to not leave, to not tear, to not do anything. 45-degree angle against the thing, a little bit of heat. And all the stickers are off. I think that's all of them. Yes, it is. Are there any hidden on the inside? I don't think so. We can take this out. And you can see the inside. I mean, it's hollow on the inside. It's very easy. It looks like, I think the bottom might just snap in with some plastic clips. The lid and this top part just Phillips head screws, and then I think it just kind of slides in. So very easy disassembly. Once you take this top off, it looks like this rod is a rod that goes from the foot pedal up. Looks like all that takes part, so it should be, let's see. Yeah, this bottom light just snaps into place. Quite easy disassembly all in all. Let me get a screwdriver and we'll take care of that. these screws are not in there very tight, which no surprise, it's in plastic. You don't want them in there very tight. You'll just tear up that plastic. Keep up your screws. You probably don't want to lose those. I don't know if the ones in the bin and the lid are different or not. And this part should slide up. Where's it? I think it to slide up. It's multifaceted safety type thing going on here. This rod just come out? Yes, it will. So I still have 3 screws for the lid. This rod should come all the way out now. Okay. It should come all the way out. Yeah. Just gotta fiddle with it a little bit. And I should have taken pictures just so I'm clear on how all this stuff goes back together. I'm not, that doesn't mean there's not still time. There's a little snap. Does that make life easier? Alright. Now let me take a picture of this real quick. I don't want to forget this. This is slightly fiddly. I'm already to the point where I can't get it back together. Apart. I've been kind of tricky. Alright, this pedal's not meant to come out. I'm going to have to get pliers on that. I think I will. Yeah, then these rods aren't going to come apart because they're flared, but it will work well. So that goes in like that. That'll be something I sit over there, so I remember that. I need pliers to get the pedal off because I didn't make that one all that easy. Alright, might need another screwdriver for that as well. And pliers for the foot pedal. You can see it. Let's see if you can see this. See the foot pedal? It's got little ears on there that bend down. You just need to straighten them so slide right out, and then I have to bend them back later. And they're sturdy enough at least to do that operation. Get the foot pedal off. Taking the pliers, I'm just straightening out those little ears. Not going to take too much to straighten them. And foot pedal out. You can see those ears. You just bend them. It's very, very simple. So get this off. Oop. Well, I did just crack the plastic of my brand new trash can. I was hoping that thing would come out a little easier. But I ended up cracking. Well, I didn't think it'd take that much force on this thing, but apparently it does. I'm doing a good job of bending the edge of this trash can. Look, it's about an inch. Doesn't show as much. There we go. Alright, that is just the can. No taping off, which is what I'm after. You don't have to paint oil rubber on, so I'm not going to force you to do that. You don't have to follow my tutorial exactly. You can do your own thing. So this has a little soft close feature. And basically, it's just a little spring-loaded thing in there. This is all self-contained. Set that to the side. Lid is free and clear. And so that whole apparatus is to make sure it says right. That's great. Now we are going to clean it up with some grease and wax remover. And I'm going to put gloves on for that. Then I'm going to sand the whole thing with 400 grit. Just good adhesion. That's great. Clean up again. Paint it. We're all set here. So I've got grease and wax remover. It's a lot like acetone. Acetone will probably start taking off paint a little bit quicker than this. I think this is probably a diluted formula. But once we go down this method of starting to clean this thing, no more can you touch this with your bare hands, because you're just gonna get it greasy again. And what happens, it's not like it's the end of the world, but if this thing's too greasy, you may say the paint may fisheye, or you may get some like orange feel looking, and that's just where the paint, it's not a very smooth surface. I am painting this with gloss. I don't have a ton of options with Rustoleum paint. I mean, all they had really for the lower bronze gloss, but you'd want to do gloss for the simple fact that gloss is the easiest paint to clean. You know, you could go satin, what is it, satin, semi-gloss, or even flat. Flat's the hardest to clean. Gloss is shiny because it's very slick. Slicker it is, just like we talked about adhesion with the paint, slicker it is, dirt can't adhere to it as easy, makes it easier to clean. I'm just going over this really well. I don't really care if I paint the inside of it. I just really want to hit the outside. I may try to get this lip, but I'm fine if the inside stays white. You know, it makes it easier to see dirt, anything going on in there anyway. So I'm going over this a couple times. I mean, really, it is that simple. You just want to go over it really well, scrub it down. I do want to get this top lip. The bottom lip I don't care as much about because that's going to set inside that plastic piece, so it is not as crucial. Just rubbing this down, cleaning it up. I mean, the rag is getting like slightly dirty, not filthy, but just slightly. I just want to be sure to go over every surface. Make sure I get good paint adhesion. You see I'm not going all the way to the bottom. I'm going to flip it over to get the bottom. I just don't want to be hitting the top of the bench. And you see any places that look a little dirty, you see like a streak of something on there, of course you want to get that. That's looking good. Let's get that bottom. Oh man, this top edge again, because this wasn't my workbench. I did not clean my workbench. I want this top edge nice and clean. Bottom edge does not matter. It will be hidden. All that looks very good. Now, just sand it with some 400 grit. I think you have to spend hours or days on this. You're just going to, you know, this has a bit of a glossy surface to it. I just want to knock it down at 400, make sure it does not look glossy anymore. You'll kind of see the difference where you're sanding or not. And just get every surface, good paint adhesion. That's what we're after. And you're asking yourself, well, does it matter if I clean it and then sand it, or sand it and then clean it? Definitely does. If you start sanding this before you've cleaned it, well, any oil, any dirt, any grime, you're just grinding right into the surface of that. And you don't want to do that. You want all that stuff off before you start sanding. This is a little piece 400. Again, like a little strip this big is fine. I think this is one sheet split into a third. And you could wet dry this. I don't think I need to. I also don't want to make a mess here. 400 is fine. You just want to go over it. You just want to get good surface. Now, if this was like maybe automotive work, I maybe using like a foam pad. It's not. This is going to be fine. And I can see I'm dulling the finish here, which is good. Don't get that top edge. You're over that. Just make sure you get good adhesion. See, I'm getting some white paint all over my sandpaper, which is good. That means I'm taking that top layer off, scuffing it up. The only reason you would do this wet, this is wet dry paper, is that you don't get the paint gobbling this up quite as much. You can see I put a little dent in it right there. Let's get that plastic piece off. Again, I'm not super concerned about that because plastic piece is going to cover it. Yeah, I really kind of think I should have used a little bit of water. Also, just makes it smoother to sand, or easier to sand, because you got that little bit of water to make the sandpaper glide. Sandpaper's getting a little clogged, but that's okay. I'm gonna go over this one more time. Looking to make sure I don't see anything shiny, make sure I didn't miss anything. Top potentially is your most important part, because that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna stand up, looking down at it, you're gonna see this top. And so since it does have a little bit of indentation to it, you want to make sure you get right into that crack. Not crack. It's got a little bit of indentation, a little bit of relief padding. You want to get right into that corner and that edge, because otherwise you have this little, in that little V groove, you'll have a spot where your paint may not want to adhere. Just looking at it, looks like all the paint is done. Doesn't look like I missed anything. So the sandpaper, it is effectively done. Again, if I'd been using a little bit of water, I could save the sandpaper. It wouldn't clog up as much. I mean, you try to clean this up, but I'm just going to toss it. Alright, I'm going to get the wax and grease remover. I'm going to get a clean rag, and we're going to just wipe this down one more time. Make sure it's quite clean, because you're going to have a little bit of dust just from sanding it. We want all that off. Anything we may have missed before. Yeah, I forgot to sand this kind of inside edge. I need to do that real quick, because you don't want to miss that. Again, like the inside, the top half, I don't care about that. I'm happy with the inside being white. I actually like that better, be a little bit brighter. You see, right there, bent it just a little bit. I jammed the screwdriver against the can. Should have been jamming the screwdriver against the plastic piece. But again, it won't show. Alright, this thing is ready to rock and roll. Preparation is one of the most important things of your paint job, because it's very easy to screw everything up during the preparation phase. You should set a little spot to paint outside. You don't want to paint inside the fumes. So these are just little skewers, because you don't want this thing sitting right on the paper, because you're going to get paint the bottom between the paper and the trash can, and then when you pick it up after dry, it just rips everything all up. These will unstick from the can, even though paint's wet, fairly easily. With the top, I'd have it sitting on a paint can and wrap it in paper just so the paint can doesn't get all painted on. And what I'll do, I'll hold this, I'll spray the bottom side first, then sit down gently on the paint can, and then spray the top of it. That way the bottom edge has coating. Same with the trash can. Just get a little area. And this is just a table I put some paper on. It is 36 inches tall, because you don't want it on the ground. It just makes it, if you're bending over, makes it hard to paint. You want to make the job as easy as possible since you're doing it. Now the only thing we need to do is get the paint can ready, and yes, there's even prep for the paint can. Well, you could definitely shake this paint can by hand. I made this little paint mixer that screws into the end of my drill, or fits into the end of the chuck, just because this is more fun and easier. And to buy one of these things, $50, like I can make one of those. And so just a bolt, some sheet metal, and seems like it'd be pretty well mixed up at that point. And what I'll also do, because it's a little cool today, and you want your paint at a great temperature, I will use a heat gun, and I'll just warm the can 30 seconds to a minute, just make sure it's good and warm, because the warmer it is, the better it flows, the better spray job you get. And it's probably like 50 degrees outside. You want this paint warmer than that. Even on a summer day, you're probably inside, it's probably 70 degrees. You want the paint a little bit warmer, so heat it up. I'm wearing a paint suit, I'm gonna wear a paint mask, glasses, gloves. Like, I don't want paint on me in any shape, form, or fashion. And even though you're outside and fumes are even though you're outside and the fumes are not in enclosed space, you still want to wear a respirator. It's just good practice. Keeps you safe, and ultimately, you want to be safe. Why do you want to be safe? Why do you want to breathe in paint? I don't want to breathe in anything but air, and there's a lot of other stuff in the air. If you're just wear a respirator. That's all it takes. So the first thing I did, I picked up the top, made sure to hit that bottom lip, and then I put it down carefully, and that lip, I made sure to hit that really well, because I'm not going to be able to pick it up again once I start painting it. Just did kind of a very light coat, almost a mist coat. Made sure to hit this edge around the top, all the way around. Just mist it. You can see, I don't have great coverage. I don't need great coverage. I'm just trying to hit just a light mist coat to get the process started. You do want to spray all the way around, because if you're only spraying from one side, we're not going to get this inside edge. And this top part, since you have this little bit of indentation, you want to spray from both sides all the way around, or you're not only spraying from one angle, otherwise you're going to miss the inside edge like this. So once I get that first coat, I may wait 5 minutes, or I may just wait, depends on how long it took me, and I immediately start the next coat. On the second coat, I'm filling in, I'm making sure I get one uniform solid color, in this case Old Bronze. Rustoleum has good coverage. You can see my second coat looks good. I do have a couple drops in there. You can see the second coat. I just want to make sure I get full coverage, and since I have those few drops, I really need to do a third coat. With this being a bathroom trash can, something that's going to get handled and moved around and kicked around, I would do a third coat anyway, just to give it a little bit more protection. But overall, it looks really good. You can see it's looking quite smooth. I like the way this nozzle is with this. You can see, you see that nozzle, like that kind of spray thing. I don't know. It gets, when you first spray, it kind of gets some very thick droplets out that you can see it in some of these finishes, these thick droplets. Overall, I mean, this color looks really good. It does look like Old Bronze. I mean, it looks like a paint finish, of course, but it looks good. Like, the coloring is really nice. Third coat, everything smooth out some of these drops, like especially on this top. And that's not super noticeable, but at the same time it kind of is. You get in the right light. But I think a third coat should help that blend anyway. And really we just need a third coat. But I mean, I'm really happy with this finish. You know, for a spray paint job, that's not bad. I mean, that's pretty slick. I think I get a little bit slicker on my third coat. I'd go a little heavier to try to get that slicker, but that'd be completely fine if that were my finished product. But I'm gonna go one more coat since this thing will get handled. And the third coat, well, the second coat I was going for just good coverage. Third coat, I'm going for a bit of a wet look. You can see this is not like super slick. Probably could have gone a little bit heavier on it. Those little drops I was thinking were me on the surface. I think that must be the factory finish because I was spraying and they were just not like, if they're from me, they were wet from the can. Usually keep spraying, they will kind of blend in. They were not blending in, so I think that might be a factory finish. I doubt anybody from the factory's ever trying to look at this thing this close. The third coat, spraying a little bit heavier, making sure I get kind of a wet look to it. And you can see, I mean, that's a pretty good finish. Let's see if we can get it somewhere good. You know, it's got a little bit like kind of sparkle to it. And this is a good finish. There you go. I mean, that looks rough. That's just kind of the pearl, the sparkle in the paint. And that part of that is just good prep work. If I noticed some of these little droplets in the top, would have sanded it a little harder. I just didn't really look. I kind of figured it was fine. And really, it is good enough. Nobody's ever gonna look at it as close as this. I'll give this a day to dry. You know, I sprayed outside. I'm gonna bring this inside pretty soon, just that way I don't have to worry about anything blowing into it, falling into it outside. All right, the trash can is painted and it came out quite well. I mean, I mean, look at that finish. That looks nice. I think it looks Orwood bronze. The color looks a little bit better than it did on the can, or on the spray paint can. So you can see I got on the edges. Now you can see this bottom edge. I did not get this, but I knew that the bottom of the base covers that up, so it's not a concern. And if I really was concerned, I could have painted the bottom and set it on my skewers like I did, and they would not have stuck too bad on this. You can see, kind of see where the skewers stuck. But you want as little surface area contact as possible with paint and whatever you're sitting it on. And yeah, I don't really want to have to paint the top and the bottom. I'll do it all in one go, and that's what I did. This finish, it looks really nice. I did a nice job, but hey, you know, I've got experience spray painting. I mean, the finish is nice. It looks Orwood bronze. I mean, the average person in my bathroom, not that I have that many people coming in my bathroom, they are never going to notice. Now it's just a matter of putting everything back together, and it really is just putting it back together in the opposite way of how it came apart. All right, base is on. Well, see, you can't even see the bottom that it wasn't painted. I mean, if you look inside, you can, but again, who's going to be looking inside? I mean, if somebody was looking inside, I'd be a little questionable about that, because it would seem weird to be looking inside a trash can like that. To bend those little ears back like they were, just so that it does not slide back out. I've got this little base, a couple screws. This rod, I don't quite remember how it goes in. I think you just snake it around until it kind of works. So I take photos of these things because I don't always remember how this stuff goes in. Yeah. Oh yeah, Reassembly is a breeze, and this thing is just about done. It's gonna look exactly like I want. I mean, the finish really is nice, and so just a little bit of preparation, you've got something that is gonna be great. It's gonna be what you want. I mean, you can paint this any color you want, and yeah, with all the time I put into this, did I really save a lot of money? You know, it depends how much you value your time. In this instance, I'm not valuing my time anything, which means I definitely saved money on this. But you could paint your trash can any color. This preparation, what that ensures is that this finish will be durable, will last a while. Because if you didn't do any prep, if it was oily, it was greasy, it was dirty, this paint's going to flake off. If you hit it or knock it or scratch it, it's going to be more likely to take the paint off. This way, this paint has good adhesion. It is not going to want to come off unless you're really beating it up. And why would you beat up a trash can? Here it is. Just got to put the top on. So I got this thing together. I'm trying to figure out why I can't get the rod to connect. What it does, there's a slot in the back. It needs to go through that slot, and I need to take this back apart because it's supposed to go in there first, and there's no way to really snake it, and I don't want to force it because I just paint this thing. I don't want to get too rough with it. I don't think there's just not enough room for it to do that without taking this apart. So I'm gonna take it apart and do it again. All right, now it's in. You see? Look at that. And yep, it's back. So we just need to throw this in there. And so that does, that little plastic iron also acts as a plastic lip so the metal is not contacting the metal, so again you avoid any scratches. This thing, it is done. Look at that. It looks like a brand new trash can. Well, it looked like a brand new trash can before. Now it looks like a different color trash can, rather. We're done here. Trash can, new color. I mean, this is one of those foundational projects that if you can do this, well, most projects involve some form of paint. So if you master this process of cleaning it up, prepping, and getting it done, well, you're set for a bunch of projects. It's foundational.